Hey guys, so today I have the Slam Top 500 NBA Players of All Time book right here. It costs about $70 to get it from the Slam online store. And yeah, they compiled a book with 500 NBA players, ranking them. Now, I think whatever ranking you use for 500 NBA players, it's going to be pretty much guesswork for a lot of these players, right? Because I don't know like how you would rank 500 players. Like, sure, you can go by like awards and stats, and for me, like when I have my own spreadsheet of NBA players, that's what I use. I use a combination of awards, stats, career totals, yeah, the longevity, and I guess impact, but it's in a way where it has to be objective because like I didn't see like all these players play, obviously. So I don't know how Slam did it. Like you can use objective stuff like awards and stats, but I know there's the other side, which is like the eye test and impact and influence and all that, which is very hard to do, especially for older players, because many of us haven't seen older players play, right? But yeah, I'm not sure how Slam did it, but 500 NBA players, okay? I'm gonna go over this book and give you guys my thoughts about this ranking because you know I love basketball and ranking basketball players. So I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts on how well they did. Okay, so yeah, hardcover book, lots of pictures, $70 from the Slam store. I'm actually going to start from the back because if we just go straight to number one, I think is a little bit anticlimactic. I'm a bit more interested to see, you know, going from the bottom actually to the top, what they did. So first of all, props to Slam for including this 20 for 20 ABA players, because I really do think that ABA players do tend to get shafted, right, in all-time discussions. Like people usually don't consider ABA players like the same as NBA players, and they don't even like talk about them at all, really. Like most NBA fans don't know about ABA players at all, and then even analysts don't really talk about them. They got shafted from the NBA top 50, top 75 teams, so it's really not fair to them because the teams merged. So the ABA stats and awards should be part of NBA history, but they're not. So it's unfortunate. But yeah, some of these ABA guys are highlighted here, which is always nice. Roger Brown, one of the all-time great small forwards, is highlighted here. Never played in the NBA. He was kind of like a playground legend. Mel Daniels, two-time MVP, three-time champion with the Pacers in the ABA. Kind of like your Willis Reed of the ABA, I guess. And yeah, really deserves to be mentioned more. I mean, yeah, just from his awards and three-time, I think he was an all-time leading rebounder in the ABA as well. So three-time leading the league in rebounds as well. One of the greatest Pacers players as well. So is Roger Brown. People don't know ABA had a Pacers dynasty basically, where they went to like 5 ABA finals and won 3 championships. So ABA Pacers were quite dominant. Yeah, some other great players: Matt Calvin, Willie Wise here, Jimmy Jones, Donnie Freeman, Warren Jabali, Ron Boone, Larry Jones, Freddie Lewis. Yeah, these are all players that I kind of know about. I know like most people don't know about these players, but I kind of looked them up. And yeah, Louis Dampier, Bob Nedelicki, James Silas, Doug Moe, Larry Brown. I don't actually know these guys as much. Marvin Barnes, but top 15 I guess I know. But these other ABA players, yeah, even for me, they're kind of obscure. So yeah, when you start off with 500 players, I think you're gonna have some obscure guys, right? And I think Slam pretty much had to really look up all the different all-stars in NBA history for this. So they had to do a lot of research, but I don't know what the ranking criteria is. Lonzo Ball apparently is the number 500 pick, a guy who hardly ever had a career. I guess he was a pretty good defender and had some triple doubles, but other than that, yeah, didn't really have too much of a career, I would say. But he's the number 500. So I guess if you're better than Lonzo Ball, you're on this list, which could really be many NBA players. Michael Beasley, okay, Ricky Davis, Slick Watts, don't know too much about those guys. Robert Horry is number 496, which is interesting because I believe Bill Simmons, who wrote a basketball book ranking different players as well, actually had Robert Horry in his top 100, right? Actually in his top 90, right? He ranked like 90 guys or something, and I believe he put Robert Horry in his top 100. And Slam has Robert Horry, 7-time NBA champion, 7-0 in the finals, by the way. Slam has him number 496. Wow. Okay. Pretty low, I guess, for a guy who's a 7-time champion. Kyle Korver's here, good 3-point shooter. Del Curry, that's Steph Curry's dad. Ricky Rubio, Jeff Teague, Tyreek Evans, David Lee, Campy Russell, Tim Thomas, Harrison Barnes, Larry Drew, Eddie Miles. I'm going to go over the names pretty quickly because, yeah, there's 500 guys. I'll only talk about, at length if I really have something I disagree with and find interesting. Scott Wedman, AC Green, Andy Phillip, Jaren Jackson Jr., Evan Mobley, Jalen Williams. I think, oh yeah, so this is the latest ranking, by the way, after OKC won their championship. So SGA will be in this book, so will Jalen Williams, the second best player on that team, who just won a championship with OKC. So it is a pretty recent book. It literally got printed right after OKC won their championship. Mel Hutchins is in here, Bill Cartwright. I think I know probably like 80% of the guys on here, but not 100%. Elmore Smith, Terrell Brandon, Gerald Wallace, Al Atlees, Danny Ainge, Jameer Nelson, Doug Christie, Nate Robinson, okay. John Starks, Marcus Smart, D'Angelo Russell, okay, he's on here. Mike Newland, Phil Ford, Antonio McDyess, Josh Howard, BJ Armstrong, okay. Paul Pressey, Danilo Gallinari, I really don't know him, Albert King, Earl Lloyd, Ernie De Gregorio, Rafer Alston, Derek McKay, Shane Battier, okay. Muggsy Bogues, Billy Knight, Michael Thompson, Nat Clifton, Theo Ratcliffe, Steven Jackson, Juwan Howard, Isaiah Ryder, Eric Gordon, Ray Williams, Mike Miller, Wayman Tisdale, Corey Maggette, Bruce Bowen, Fred Carter, and Kenny the Jet Smith. I think everyone should know him from TNT, right? Fred Brown, I think they called him Downtown Fred Brown, right? Because he was a pretty lethal shooter, I think, from downtown. Vernon Maxwell, Carl Braun, Flynn Robinson, Jeff Ruland, Kelly Chapuka. Interesting, he's on here too. Nikola Vucevic, Hito Turkoglu. Okay. Danny Green, yep. Tom Metchery, ML Carr, Tom Gola, Sam Perkins, Jim Paxson. I think this is John Paxson's brother. Bob Boozer, Eddie Johnson, Brandon Jennings, J.R. Smith is on here. Man, he's fairly high, I guess. Nate McMillan, Jim Jackson, Kevin Lowry, Wally Cheserback, I'm not sure if I pronounced his name right. Nick Anderson, Michael Adams, Ricky Pierce, Junior Bridgman, Cedric Sabalos, Walt Hazard, Tom Gugliotta, Happy Hairston, Jeff Green, Sean Elliott, okay, Quinn Buckner, Dan Marley, Terry Dishner, Orlando Woolridge, Cade Cunningham, Dan Roundfield. I'm actually a little bit surprised he's ranked this low because I believe he was like a 5-time all-defensive player. Why is Dr. Rounds so low? Otis Thorpe, Daryl Dawkins. Yep. That's a Chocolate Thunder, right? Daryl Dawkins. Frank Ramsey, Ray Scott, Jalen Rose, Quentin Richardson, Darius Miles, Richard Jefferson, Clark Kellogg. I remember Clark Kellogg for being a broadcaster, not really a player, but I guess he was a pretty alright player too. Zydrunas Ilgauskas, Big Z, Mickey Johnson, Arnie Risen, best player on a championship team, by the way, 1951 Royals. He's pretty low, actually, considering that. Austin Carr, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, Mark Eaton, is number 385. Wow. Yeah, he's pretty low, I guess, for a guy who's 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. An all-time leader in blocks as well. Blocks per game, I should say. Yeah, Mark Eaton leads in 3.5 blocks per game. All-time leader in BPG. Laurie Markkanen. Oh, he's still playing. Yep. Al Harrington, Bill Bridges, Byron Scott, Jim McMillan, Cedric Maxwell, Finals MVP, by the way, with the Celtics. He actually won it over Larry Bird. Steve Smith, Ben Gordon, Clifford Robinson. It's funny they put Cliff Robinson and Clifford Robinson both beside each other. Jeff Mullins, Lucius Allen, Okay, now we get into top 372 here. Tom Van Arsdale, Dick Van Arsdale. They put both of them beside it. I think this is just lazy, man. This is lazy, putting both of these guys right beside each other because they have the same last name. Tom Van Arsdale and Dick Van Arsdale. Like, they were twins, and apparently all just happened to be ranked right beside each other. DeJounte Murray, yep. Hersey Hawkins, Chuck Person, Rick Schmitz, Kevin Martin, Larry Costello, Fred Van Vliet, Sarunas Marciulionis. Man, that's a hard name to pronounce. Dino Raja, Jeff Hornacek, yep. Larry Hughes, that's pretty high for him, I guess. Ron Harper, Coutinho Mobley, Gordon Hayward, Victor Oladipo, Jason Williams, yep. That's, what is it? White Chocolate. I think that's his nickname. Purvis Short, Daryl Griffith, Sleepy Floyd. That's a funny nickname. That's not his real name, I don't think. But yeah, Sleepy. Eric Bledsoe, which is also the name of a quarterback, isn't he? Like an all-star quarterback. Anyways, Goran Dragic, Aaron Gordon. I think some of this is laziness, man. Oh man. Andrew Wiggins. Yeah, I actually don't know how they ranked these players. It seems like for some of them they ranked them right beside each other because they have similar names. Might as well put them beside each other if their names are similar, right? Yeah, Andrew Wiggins, yep. Second best player in the 2022 Warriors, by the way. Chuck Robinson, Jack. I think he led the league in rebounding before. Yep, he did. Jack Marin, Don Ole, Roni Sikali. Arvydas Sabonis, of course. They have the Hall of Fame sticker, by the way, if they're Hall of Fame. And they also give you the number of All-Stars that they have and whether they won a championship, and they'll have it here. But yeah, Arvydas Sabonis, yeah, one of the great what-ifs in NBA history, right? If he went to the league earlier than what he could have been. Kristaps Porzingis, Danny Manning, Jimmy Walker, David West, Rashard Lewis, Charles Oakley, Jason Terry, Karen Butler, Luol Deng, Tom Sanders, Mike Bibby, Darius Garland. Yeah, Tom Sanders won 8 championships, by the way. He's part of that, probably the most forgotten member of that 60s Bill Russell-led Celtics team. Yeah, Darius Garland's still playing, yep. Danny Granger, remember him? Reggie Lewis, Chris Middleton, Brian Winters, Johnny Green, Reggie Theus, Kevin Willis, Terry Porter. Surprised about how low some of these guys are. Terry Porter was the second best guy and 2 finalists. Like, Clyde Drexler took 2 Portland Trailblazers to the finals, and Terry Porter was the second best player on those teams, and he's number 323. What the heck? Dale Ellis, great 3-point shooter for his time. Alvin Adams, one of the great passing centers. Also the best player on a finals team, 1976 Suns. Yeah, I know everyone says Paul Westphal was, but Alvin Adams, if you look at the numbers, was incredible. He was just a rookie. Keith Van Horn, Vin Baker, Josh Smith, Tony Allen, Mookie Blaylock. I think Tony Allen versus Mookie Blaylock would be pretty interesting as defensive guards. Which one was better? That's interesting. Xavier McDaniel, Nick Van Exel, Calvin Nett, Willie Knowles, Jason Richardson, Tyrese Maxey, Isaiah Thomas. Not the Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas, by the way. The other Isaiah Thomas, who had kind of a short prime, but was pretty good during that time. Paul Millsap, Derek Harper. And he's even a smaller, I think he's even a smaller Isaiah Thomas than the Hall of Fame one. Zach LaVine, yep, known for his dunks, obviously. And Kenny Anderson, Damon Stoudemire, Mighty Mouse, yep, the first Raptor star. Brandon Ingram, Victor Wembanyama, he will definitely be higher. Of course, he just played very recently, but yeah, I mean, the dude's already averaging 22, 11, and 4 blocks a game for his career. That's crazy. Wemby would definitely move up. 302 seems a bit low for him, even so. And Paolo Banchero, I'm not sure if I would rank Paolo above Wemby even now. Like, who's going to pick Paolo over Wemby right now? Like, if you're talking about current NBA, I think almost everyone would take Wemby over Paolo Banchero. Not to say, like, Banchero is a bad player, but come on. Wemby's just special, man. All right, Jeff Petrie and CJ McCollum, Michael Finley, Anthony Mason, Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, Chris Jackson, Tobias Harris, one of the great shooters of his time, by the way. Tobias Harris is not playing anymore? Oh, maybe not. He started in 2011. Wow, didn't realize he'd played that long. Monta Ellis. Yep, Rudy Gay. I didn't know Rudy Gay was, I mean, ranked higher than Wemby. I'm not sure about that. Who's taking Rudy Gay over Wemby all time? Sidney Wicks, Vinnie Johnson, The Microwave, John Williamson, Andre Miller. Andre Miller played for a long time, man. 99 to 2016. Wow. Yeah, he played for a long time. Vlade Divac, one of the great passing centers. I mean, a lot of those Euro guys were basically really selfless, those Euro guys. They still are. Kenya Martin, Lionel Hollins. I find American players tend to be a bit more ball dominant, a bit more selfish sometimes. Those Euro guys, they're really unselfish. Al Jefferson, Joe Caldwell, Julius Randle, Wayne Embry, Archie Clark, Pascal Siakam. I think Pascal Siakam, yeah, and Tyrese Halliburton. It makes sense why they're both beside each other, but I actually think Siakam was better. I mean, like, if you look at that Pacers run that just happened, I mean, Siakam was actually the better player compared to Halliburton. So, yeah. I know Halliburton, he's a leader of the team and everything, but, yeah, I would actually take Siakam over Halliburton, especially since Siakam has a championship already with the Raptors. So, yeah. De'Aaron Fox, Bam Adebayo, yeah. Tayshaun Prince, DeAndre Jordan, Lou Williams, Jamal Murray. Basically just on the strength of his playoff success. Jamal Murray is such a beast in the playoffs. Like, Jesus, especially against the Lakers. Jamal Crawford, John Drew. Yeah, Jamal Murray gives Lakers fans nightmares. Brook Lopez, yep, Andre Drummond. I actually didn't know, I didn't realize Brook Lopez actually won a championship with the Bucks. I guess he did, yeah. Andre Drummond, yep, all-time rebounder. Al Horford, Phil Smith, Ralph Sampson, Antoine Walker, Sam Cassell, LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball is pretty high. Really? Is he really better than all those guys before him? Okay. Didn't see LaMelo Ball do anything, actually. Tyson Chandler, yep. Carlos Boozer. I actually think... Yeah. Okay. Carlos Boozer, yep. Larry Faust, who should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way. 8-time All-Star. And, yeah, like, he was a major part of those teams back in the 50s, right? I don't get why a lot of those other guys were part of in the 50s. Like, if you're 8-time All-Star, why was he not in the Hall of Fame? I don't get it. If you have guys like Harry Gallatin and Larry Costello in the Hall of Fame, why not Larry Faust, you know? He was, like, as good or better than those guys. So kind of a weird omission from the Hall of Fame. But, yeah. Don't know why. Allen Houston, sharpshooter. Jerry Stackhouse. Michael Ray Richardson, yeah. Kind of like, almost like he's like Magic Johnson, but with defense. And then had a really short career as well because of the drug violation. Really another what-if type of character, Michael Ray Richardson. Yeah. Really, he was called like Magic Johnson, but even in some ways better because he was a better defender than Magic, but had a really short prime and then had the drug issues and, of course, didn't play on the Lakers. Yeah. Andrei Kirilenko, yep, AK-47, one of the greatest nicknames ever. Yeah. Bob Rule, Clyde Lovelet, just kind of another enforcer type of guy. There's a lot of those guys back then. Derek Coleman, another enforcer type. Rudy LaRusso. Yeah, people don't remember him, but after Weston Baylor, he was like the third star on those Lakers teams. Don Chaney, Andrew Toney, the Boston Strangler, right? Yeah. Domantas Sabonis, that's Arvydas Sabonis' son. Glenn Rice, Mike Mitchell. Yeah, that's oh, okay. Yeah, Mike Mitchell, he was like, I think he's one of those underrated scorers, those quiet scorers. He really kind of averaged more than 20 points per game 6 times. Like, people don't realize that. Okay, Gene Shu, Kiki Vandaway, another one of those high-scoring forwards in the 80s. Jeff Malone, another guy who scored a ton of points that people don't really talk about. Doug Collins, Larry Keenan, who had a great ABA success as well because he won a championship with Dr. J in the Nets. Randy Smith, that's Bob McAdoo's co-star. Zelmo Beatty, who won a championship in the ABA with the Utah Stars. I guess ABA awards are not counted in this book, unfortunately. If it was counted, Zelmo Beatty would be a lot higher. He was the best player on a championship team, the Utah Stars, in 1971. So I would assume, yeah, that ABA awards and stats are not being counted. Otherwise, he would be higher. Yep, Bill Laimbeer, of course, part of the Bad Boy Pistons. Detlef Schrempf, Larry Nance, Bobby Wanzer, Mike Conley, Eddie Jones. Yep. Alvin Robertson, who should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way. All-time leader in steals, Defensive Player of the Year, 6-time All-Defensive. He should be in the Hall of Fame. 2.7 steals per game. That's all-time. All-time leader in SPG. Also, the only player with a quadruple-double in steals. Yeah, you can look that up. But everyone else who had a quadruple-double did it with blocks. Alvin Robertson, the only one who did it with steals. You know. All-time great defender, of course. And Tony Kukoc here, yep. Michael Redd, Sharif Abdul-Rahim, right, the Grizzlies guy. Anton Jameson, who played for a really long time as well, scored a whole bunch of points. I think he scored over 20,000 points, Anton Jameson. Glenn Robinson, World Be Free, that's a great name, yep. Pretty much just a scorer and that's it. See, Harry Gallatin's on here. One of the first Knicks stars ever. Yeah. Yeah, this was before even Richie Guerin, I think. So he was actually one of the first New York Knicks stars. But yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame. He's probably as good as Larry Faust. I don't know why Faust is not in there. Bob Davies is here. He's the, well, you can call him the leader of that 1951 Royals team, although I think Arnie Risen was actually more impactful. But Davies is considered to be, yeah, probably the leader of that 1951 Royals team when they won that championship. That's the only championship the Mike and Lakers didn't win during that time. Joakim Noah, Kyle Lowry, Baron Davis, Brandon Roy, another big what if, obviously. DeMarcus Cousins, Jermaine O'Neal. I guess that's fair. Jermaine O'Neal and DeMarcus Cousins, huh? Yeah, I guess they're around the same level. Latrell Sprewell, who's the best player on the finals team, by the way, 99 Cinderella Knicks. Norm Nixon, tend to be forgotten among Lakers fans, but Norm Nixon was pretty good back in the day. Bailey Howell, who's kind of ranked fairly low for a guy who has 2 championships, 6 All-Stars. I mean, he wasn't really a factor in the 1969 one, but 1968, I think he was actually kind of a factor in that championship, so kind of low for that. Mark Jackson, who played for a really long time and averaged 8 assists a game, is like, I think, top 10 in assists. 6 on the NBA's all-time assist list. Yeah, see. Paul Westphal, who was, I think, not the best player on the 76 Suns. I think that was Alvin Adams, but he was the leader. So people give Westphal and probably more credit than Alvin Adams for leading that team to the finals. Kemba Walker, Terry Cummings, Peja Stojakovic, Fat Liver. Yeah, that's his nickname, Fat Liver. A triple-double machine back in the day. Iggy, Lamar Odom. So this is very interesting. Iggy and Lamar Odom, I think they're about equal. People really underrate Lamar Odom's impact. He was probably one of the greatest role players ever. Should have been an all-star at least once, I think. Yeah, Odom is just really, really talented role player that really deserves more credit for those Kobe championship teams. Yeah, but of course Kobe fans never give him any credit because they want Kobe to have all the credit instead. But yeah, I would say he and Iggy are about the same level, actually. Both of them are just super role players. Elton Brand, very talented for the Clippers. Of course, didn't go anywhere with that team, but yeah, but he was a talented player. Darren Williams, of course, for the Jazz. At one point was considered one of the best point guards in the league. Horace Grant, underrated, part of the Bulls' three-peat years. I think he was very essential. Really, like, third best player after Jordan and Pippen on those teams. Gilbert Arenas, yep, short prime there, but pretty good scorer during that prime. Bill Bradley, part of the The Willis Reed, Walt Frazier, Knicks, Cassie Russell, Dick Barnett, Rip Hamilton, Bradley Beal. What happened to Bradley Beal's career, man? I guess the same thing happened to John Wall's career. Zion Williamson's pretty high. I mean, the guy puts up good stats. That's about all he has. He's like the DeMarcus Cousins of this generation. Just stats, and that's about it. And except he doesn't even have as much availability as DeMarcus Cousins does. He rarely even plays. Trae Young, yep. Donovan Mitchell. Interesting they put Donovan Mitchell right beside Trae Young. I think Donovan Mitchell's a lot better. But yeah, Trae Young is, I mean, his stats look good. But the thing is, like, people say he has kind of like empty stats, kind of like Zion's stats, right? But Donovan Mitchell, legit, like, he can lead the Cavs, you know, to a good amount of wins. So I would actually think Donovan Mitchell is quite a bit better than Trae Young. And Sean Marion's here, the Matrix. Mark Price, yep, short prime, but was very good, and a very good leader actually during that time. Just ran to Jordan, that's it. Marcus Camby, who won a Defensive Player of the Year. Zach Randolph, another enforcer type. Oh, here's John Wall, yep. Another guy that looked like he has a promising career, but didn't really go anywhere with it. Marcus Gasol, Meta World Peace. Buck Williams. I think Buck Williams is still the all-time leading scorer for the Nets. I think. Jalen Brunson, of course, just recently. He'll be higher in the future. Yeah, his career is just kind of starting in his prime there. Vern Mickelson, one of the enforcer types for the Mikan Lakers. Drew Holiday, very underrated part of those teams. I think Drew Holiday was super important to those championship teams. Like, basically, as soon as the Bucks added him, they went to they won a championship. As soon as Boston adds them, they win a championship. Just a really good. I would say, like, yeah, he's considered a role player, but actually he's a kind of a star in his own right. I mean, he's a 2-time All-Star, right? Just kind of a all-around great player that anyone should want on their team. Drew Holiday. Rolando Blackman, yep, for the 80s Mavs. Rod Strickland, who should have an All-Star as well. I don't know why. He somehow has an All-NBA selection without having an All-Star. One of the best handles ever. Ja Morant here. Casey Jones, yep, defensive specialist. 8-time champion with the Russell Celtics. Maurice Lucas, another guy whose literally his nickname was the Enforcer. Second best player on the Bill Walton championship team, the Blazers. Tom Chambers, another guy who scored like 20,000 points. But people don't really remember him too much. Jamal Mashburn, Otis Birdsong, Guy Rogers, Karl Anthony Towns. Yeah, I guess Karl Anthony Towns could move up later. The thing is, yeah, I feel like Karl Anthony Towns is very good. It's just that maybe he just hasn't gotten his break yet. But I think he's doing pretty well with the Timberwolves right now. Actually, with the Knicks, I should say. Yeah, as he moved to the Knicks, and him and Jalen Brunson, and yeah, I think it just worked out. Like Karl Anthony Towns and Julius Randle, they worked out with that trade. Joe Johnson played for a bunch of teams. Yeah, pretty good scorer. Rudy Tomjanovich. People remember him as a coach, but he was a pretty solid player too. Steve Francis, very athletic for his size. Rudy Gobert, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, and he's number 171. That's kind of odd. Yeah, Rudy Gobert is pretty low for a guy who has 4 Defensive Player of the Years. He's all the way down to 171. Wow. Drazen Petrovic, yep, another what if. Slater Martin, 5-time champion? I think he was the second best point guard of the 50s after Bob Cousy, but he's all the way here at number 169. So there's a big gap between him and Cousy. But he was actually a pretty good defender too, so they didn't have all defensive back then. Larry Johnson, Brad Daugherty. Are they saying Brad Daugherty is better than Mark Price? I'm actually not sure about that. I think Mark Price was actually the leader of that team, even though Brad Daugherty sometimes put up better numbers. But I actually think Price was the leader of that Cavs team. So interesting they have him higher. They should be around the same, in my opinion. Phil Chenier, Sean Kemp, Mark Aguirre, yep, the 80s Mavs, and then later for the Pistons, LaMarcus Aldridge, all the way at 163 here. I guess that's okay. I mean, LaMarcus Aldridge and Sean Kemp are roughly around the same level, I think. Yeah, in my calculations as well. So here's where we get into the guys that really like could be in Hall of Fame, and that's why you start to see more of the Hall of Fame stuff. You see Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame. You start to see more of these Hall of Fame guys now once you reach the 160s. So Richie Guerin, yeah, like Harry Gallatin was the first star for the New York Knicks, and then Richie Guerin took over, and he was pretty much the star for the Knicks in the late 50s and early 60s. Paul Silas, just a huge glue guy for a lot of teams. He was like, you can consider him kind of like the Draymond Green type, or even Rodman type, although he wasn't like obviously as outrageous as Rodman, but he was just kind of that glue guy, right? The guy that you want on your team for it to be a tough defender, rebounder. So Paul Silas was that player. That's why he's a three-time champion. You always need a tough glue guy like that who does all the dirty work, and Paul Silas did that. Doesn't need to score a lot of points, but he's just there for defense and rebounding. Every team needs a guy like that. Oh, Paul Silas was that for 3 championship teams. Jack Sigma, well, it's interesting for the 79 Sonics because they have a bunch of guys that are not really superstars, but kind of close to it. Jack Sigma was there, like him, Gus Williams, and Dennis Johnson. All 3 of them were kind of close to superstar level, but not really. So that's the thing about the 79 Sonics team. They didn't really have a superstar, but they just had a bunch of guys that are pretty close, like Jack Sigma. But he's still in the Hall of Fame. Chauncey Billups, interesting, and again, because the 79 Sonics and 2004 Pistons, both of these teams had guys that were not really superstars, just close to it. Now, Chauncey Billups, I wouldn't consider a superstar either, just kind of close to it, but not really. But he got a Finals MVP on that 2004 Pistons team. So, yeah, he's actually a little bit low. I don't think I would rank him this low. I mean, you're talking about a guy who has a Finals MVP, 5-time All-Star, kind of does everything on the court, on both sides of the court. So, also hit clutch shots. I think he should be a bit higher than that. Chet Walker, yep. Part of a championship 76ers team with Wilt on it. Bobby Jones, another one of these guys that really, really good role player. Yeah, he's kind of similar to Paul Silas and Draymond Green, right? Just another one of those guys that are very hard-nosed defender and rebounder. And you just need those guys on your team if you want to win. So Bobby Jones, Paul Silas, Draymond, like all these guys are kind of like that. You really need those super role players. Okay, Dick McGuire, 7-time All-Star, huh? Oh, okay. It's because he played in the 50s, yeah. Don't know too much about him, but Tricky Dick, yeah. Play for the Knicks, too. I guess he played alongside Harry Gallatin. Kevin Love, Marcus Johnson, yeah. He should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know why he's not. And same thing with Amari Stoudemire. Both of these guys should be in the Hall of Fame. If you're talking about snubs, okay, you put Tim Hardaway, Maurice Cheeks, freaking Michael Cooper wins in the Hall of Fame. You put these guys in the Hall of Fame. Okay, put Amari Stoudemire, Marcus Johnson in the Hall of Fame, okay? Amari Stoudemire is like a 5-time All-NBA first and second team. And like at his prime, like before his injury, he was probably like right after Timmy, KG, and Dirk, I would say. Like he's pretty up there. He should be in the Hall of Fame just for that prime, and then be a 5-time All-NBA. Marcus Johnson should also be in the Hall of Fame. If you're going to put guys like Chris Mullin in, and yeah, if you're going to put guys like Paul Westphal in the Hall of Fame, put Marcus Johnson in, man. He should be in too. Yeah, he was a big part of that Moncrief Bucks team. So yeah, Stoudemire and Marcus Johnson both should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm here to say it, okay? They're snubs. Ed Macauley, yep, kind of forgotten now, but he's probably one of the best centers of his era. Michael Cooper, again, he's in the Hall of Fame. He's a 5-time champion and 8-time All-Defensive, but he was kind of a role player. That's the thing. He was kind of a role player. Marcus and Stoudemire were actually like kind of superstars. Rasheed Wallace, yeah, interesting they ranked him ahead of those guys, but yeah, Rasheed Wallace, I agree, in terms of talent, he's pretty up there. Yeah, definitely another guy that is just, yeah, every team kind of just benefits from having someone who does all the dirty work, right? Doesn't care about his stats, but just does all the dirty work. Hard-nosed defense, and yeah, just very, very polished, very talented. Jerry Sloan, extremely hard-nosed defender. Same thing, Norm Van Leer. Both of these were sharing in the same backcourt, 70s Bulls. So, yeah, both of them. No, Jerry Sloan's in the Hall of Fame, not Norm Van Leer. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why, because they're really on the same level. They're both incredible defenders. Um, Maybe Jerry Sloan was a bit better of a scorer, but then Norm Van Leer was a great passer too. So I'm not sure why Jerry Sloan's in the Hall of Fame, but not Norm Van Leer. If you're gonna put one in, put both of them in. Jamal Wilkes, yep, like he was a big part of those early Showtime Lakers. Maurice Stokes, a very tragic story about him. He got paralyzed on the court, unfortunately, but his averages are crazy: 16, 17, and 5. Yeah, for a power forward. Yeah, he this is another huge what if. No one talks about him because he played in the 50s. Joe Falks is really high. I think that's because of his historical impact. Like as an NBA player, he's really not great. I mean, he played in the 50s, but he was considered to be like the pioneer of the jump shot, and he scored 63 points, which is like the highest scoring game someone has had for like 10 years. Like he held that record for like 10 years or something. Yeah, just a really, really early pioneer. I think he's high just because of his pioneering impact. But yeah, that's why he's in the Hall of Fame too. But if you look at it, just his stats and everything, he's not really great. It's just because of his pioneering impact. Okay, Sweet Lou Hudson here. Yep, George Yardley. Yeah, Lou Hudson got in the Hall of Fame. Frick. If you put Lou Hudson in, you don't put Marcus Johnson in. That's weird. George Yardley, one of those high scoring guys in the 50s, if you want to call scoring like what it was back then. He led the league in scoring. Yeah, he actually led the league in scoring before, 28 points per game. Yep, in the mid 50s. Cliff Hagan, second best player on a championship team, which was the 58 Hawks after Bob Pettit. Calvin Murphy's really high, the pocket rocket. I don't know why they rank him so high. Yeah, his stats are not really that great. He didn't win a championship. He's a one-time All-Star. I actually have no idea why Calvin Murphy is ranked so high, but he's ranked relatively high here. Walt Bellamy, yep. Just didn't win anything, but I mean, just numbers are crazy. Neil Johnston, very, very underrated player, I would say. I actually put Neil Johnston in my top 100. Like, this guy, he was the second best player on a championship team, which is the 55 Warriors, after Paul Arizin. And then he led the league in scoring 3 times. So that's like good enough for top 100 in my opinion. Yeah, but he's forgotten. Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, is already here. Okay. Well, his career is still going. Gus Williams, another underrated player, the Wizard. Yeah, he was the leading scorer, despite being the point guard. He was the leading scorer on that 79 championship Sonics team. He averaged like 29 points per game in that finals, and didn't win Finals MVP. By the way, Dennis Johnson won it. You can make a case that Gus Williams deserved that Finals MVP and should be in the Hall of Fame too. So that's another guy that's kind of snubbed from the Hall of Fame. Gus Williams, at his peak, he was a freaking dangerous scorer, especially as a point guard. I mean, if you're talking about a prototype scoring point guard like Curry or Kyrie, like Gus Williams, like one of those really early scoring point guards, like Dave Bang, Gus Williams, those guys. Yeah, really early scoring point guards, kind of the prototype of point guards today. So you look at guys like SGA, right? It's a point guard, but he's a scoring point guard. Yeah, Gus Williams and Dave Bang kind of were the pioneers of that, and Tiny Archibald, I guess, as well. Okay, Jim Pollard, another part of the Mike and Lakers teams. I don't know why he's much higher than Vern Mikkelsen. He should be around the same level as Vern Mikkelsen, but I don't know why he's higher. Draymond's here, yep. Like I said, another one of those guys everyone wants to have on their team, like Bobby Jones and Paul Silas, that does all the dirty work. Really kind of the glue guys. You always got to have them. Not really superstars, but glue guys. Just super role players, I guess. Jack Twyman. Yep. Walter Davis. I think he's still the all-time leading scorer for the Suns. The Greyhound, that's what they call him. Kevin Johnson, who should be in the Hall of Fame as well. I know he had kind of a short prime, but man, he was one of the most dominant. Like, he was right after Magic and Isaiah, I would say. Like Magic and Isaiah, and then KJ after that. Like, in his prime, he was like pretty unstoppable scorer, and also great passer too. I mean, averaging 9.1 assists a game. He should be in the Hall of Fame. Another snub. And why is Kevin Porter higher? I don't understand why. Who's going to choose Kevin Porter over Kevin Johnson? Okay, Kevin Porter. What, he led the league in assists 4 times. I understand that, but no, Kevin Johnson's a much better scorer and also averages more assists per game, okay? I don't know why Kevin Porter's ahead of Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson should be higher. Charlie Scott is pretty high. I'm kind of surprised to see him this high. He played some of his career in the ABA as well, but I don't know why he's so high, actually. That's a bit of an odd choice here. Maurice Cheeks, okay. Like, he's pretty high in all-time steals, I think. A 5-time all-defensive. He's a pretty good defensive point guard. Pretty high still. Stephen Marbury's pretty high. I mean, I know he's got the stats, but he didn't really do much. Yeah, I would say Kevin Johnson's better than Stephen Marbury as well. Jimmy Butler is here, obviously the best player on 2 finalists, right? He took 2 teams that shouldn't be in the finals to the finals. Yep, Gail Goodrick, Stumpy, because he was left-handed. Yep, so he was actually the leading scorer on the 1972 Lakers. That's more than West and Wilt, by the way. Tim Hardaway, yep, he's here. If Tim Hardaway's in the Hall of Fame, put Kevin Johnson in, man. They're pretty much on the same level. JoJo White, Finals MVP on the 76 Celtics. Derrick Rose, pretty high in my opinion. I mean, he had a really short prime, but, you know, everyone knows that Derrick Rose was a beast in his prime. Won MVP, so it's based on a short prime maybe. Bob Love, yep. He could be in the Hall of Fame as well. Probably the best player in those 70s Bulls, although they had a lot of good players, right? Jerry Sloan, Norm Van Lier, Chet Walker. Bob Love, probably the best out of them all. And a two-way player, too. Penny Hardaway, again, kind of like Derrick Rose. Short prime, but really good during that prime. Yep, very talented. Okay, so now we're at the full-length pictures here. The top 120, okay. So here's, I think, where the list can get a bit controversial, let's just say, okay? So for the most part, I think those guys are okay past 120. Once you get into top 120, it gets a bit more controversial here and a bit more interesting. So Blake Griffin at number 120, I think I'm okay with this. I mean, a guy who didn't really accomplish too much, but yeah, I mean, when he was healthy, like, yeah, he was pretty good on offense. Like, he was actually one of the best passing power forwards, I would say. He averages 4 assists per game, but yeah, probably one of the best passing power forwards, and could give you easily a double-double every night. So I'm okay with Blake Griffin being there. Dikembe Mutombo, a little bit low, I would say, but I mean, they put Rudy Gobert like way back, right? I don't know why Rudy Gobert was so low, but Dikembe Mutombo, one of the best defenders ever, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, second all-time in block shots, I think. So yeah, he's number 119. That's fine. Mitch Richmond, The Rock. Yeah, another guy who's underrated, I think. Kind of gets forgotten sometimes. Really nice scorer, good shooter as well. So good finisher. So yeah, Mitch Richmond. He played for some pretty terrible Kings teams, but he was the leader of those teams. Artis Gilmore. Actually, something that people don't know about Mitch Richmond is that he actually won a ring with Kobe and Shaq in 2002, coming off the bench. Artis Gilmore, yeah, the A Train. Pleasantly surprised he's this high, because we're not including his ABA career. Because if we're including ABA career, then Artis Gilmore should be way higher. But yeah, in the ABA, he was like probably the second greatest ABA player ever. Like led the league in rebounding 4 times. Won an MVP, championship, playoffs MVP. Yeah, great defender and great rebounder as well. But in the NBA, I guess he's about here in the NBA because he really didn't do too much in the NBA. Still played for a while though. Yep, very, very strong player too, by the way. He was like the Wilt of the ABA. Dan Issel is higher than him. He usually wouldn't be higher if you're counting ABA awards because the thing is Issel and Gilmore both played on the same team, the Kentucky Colonels in the ABA, but Gilmore was considered the better, like the better player actually during that time, even though Issel was the main offensive player. But Gilmore was kind of the main guy who was like, you just feed the ball to him and he'll score inside and he'll do the rebounding and the defense. Yeah, Issel was kind of just the main offensive player. But I guess if you're talking about NBA career, not the ABA, then Dan Issel would be higher. Because he, yeah, just played for the Nuggets, but he did a ton of scoring on the Nuggets. Didn't really go anywhere, but I think his NBA career was a bit better than Artis Gilmore's. So sure. Bob Dandridge, yeah, I mean, he was a pretty crucial part of those two two championship teams actually, the Kareem Oscar Bucks and the unsold Elvin Hayes Bullets teams. So yeah, he was actually a pretty crucial part of both of them, and he's a two-way player too. Can score, can defend. Yeah, he kind of did a lot on the court for those guys. The third best player on two championship teams. So yes, Bob Dandridge is there. Deserves to be mentioned more actually. Tom Heinsohn. I actually think he should be higher, to be honest. I think he's actually more like, he should have been on those NBA 50 and 75 teams over Bill Sharman, in my opinion, because I think he was more impactful than Bill Sharman. But if you look up those numbers, Tom Heinsohn, sometimes he was like the leading scorer on those finals teams. So anyways, he won 8 championships in 9 seasons with the Russell Celtics, and he was actually the leading scorer for a lot of those championships. So yeah, like basically Tom Heinsohn was the leading scorer for a lot of those championship teams before Sam Jones became the leading scorer. I don't think Bill Sharman was actually the leading scorer for any of them. Yeah, so I'm a bit confused why Bill Sharman is always ranked over Tom Heinsohn. And Tom Heinsohn has more championships too, like double. Spencer Haywood is here, which is good. I think Spencer Haywood deserves more respect, but I think he should be even higher. I mean, you're talking about a guy, 5-time All-NBA, I think, averaged like 20 and 10. But then they're not counting his ABA MVP. So yeah, he dropped a crazy numbers as an ABA rookie, right? He dropped like 30 and 19 a game, and then 37 or something in the playoffs. So anyways, he was like the first Sonic superstar. So yeah, I guess it makes sense. If you're gonna put Issel here, then okay, Haywood could be just a little bit higher than Issel. Jaylen Brown is this high, and it's probably because he's a Finals MVP with the Celtics championship team, right? I mean, he'll move up over time, but I think it's okay for him. Yeah, it makes sense, I guess. Dave Bing, yeah, he was actually part of the NBA top 50 selection before, top 75. Yeah, just one of those prototypical scoring point guards. That's about it. I mean, I don't think he really went far with his career anywhere, but yeah, just a high-scoring point guard. One of the prototypes, actually, of his time. Yeah, I actually think Bob Lanier was more valuable to that team. Rajon Rondo, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Two-time champion, because he was. The thing is, actually, he wasn't really like a crucial part of those. Maybe the first championship with the Celtics, but not the other one with the Lakers. But hey, the guy played for a while, and he was a great passer. Led the league in passing like 3 times, I think. Yep. And gets triple doubles pretty often. So anyways, pretty up there. Gus Johnson's pretty high. Played for the Bullets, mainly for the Bullets, and then he was considered a great defender and rebounder for his time. I'm surprised at how high Gus Johnson is, though. Kind of a forgotten player, but yeah, he didn't really, like, I guess he went to a finals in 1971 with Wes Unseld and Earl Monroe, but yeah, interesting they put him this high. Paul George, okay. I think Paul George should be a little bit higher even. Okay, but anyways, PG is here. Obviously, great two-way player. Connie Hawkins, I love that they have Connie Hawkins on here, but he should be even higher, ideally. But I know his career was kind of short. If you don't count his ABA career, I think his first year in the ABA, he won like an MVP, a championship, playoffs MVP, right? Led the league in scoring as well. But once he went to the NBA, his career went down really fast. He really only had one or two good years in the NBA before he succumbed to injury. But still, I mean, his rookie year in the NBA is pretty nuts. Yeah, he averaged like 25, 10, and 5 as a rookie, I think, and then took the Wilt West Lakers to like 7 games. And actually, they had Baylor on it as well. Yeah, Wilt West Baylor, and he took him to 7 games. And his second best player was Gail Goodrick at the time, I think. So, yeah. Anyways, I love that Connie Hawkins is on here and higher than, yeah, roughly the same level as Paul George, if you could say that. That's only because of his peak, though. I think Hawkins at his peak was better, but he didn't have the longevity. Joel Embiid, I'm really you surprised Joel Embiid is this low. I think I would have put Joel Embiid higher. I know he doesn't have the best availability, but I mean, when he's healthy, he's a beast. He led the league in scoring twice. He had an MVP. He averages 28-11. Come on. Yeah, and he's a pretty good defender too. So I mean, yeah, I would put Embiid actually higher. It's just, I guess, because of his availability, but even then, I would still put him higher. Yeah, Devin Booker, 24, 4 and 5. Yeah, Devin Booker is a pretty lethal scorer. He went to the finals before, and you could say he was maybe the best player. Maybe CP3 was the best player, but maybe the most impactful player. But Devin Booker was the leading scorer on a finals team. So George McGinnis. Surprised they put George McGinnis like this, because if you're not counting his ABA career, then actually maybe he could be even further back. Because like George McGinnis, I rank him high because I include his ABA career. And his ABA career is incredible. I mean, he won 2 championships with the Pacers. He won an MVP, playoffs MVP, and he led a team to the finals, pretty much carrying a team to the finals like LeBron did. But if you're not including the ABA, just his NBA career, this is actually pretty high for him. Yeah, I'm actually surprised how high they put George McGinnis. Because in the NBA, I think he just had a finals appearance with Dr. J, and then that's pretty much it. Didn't do too much else. Alonzo Mourning, I think this is about where I would put him as well. That's fine. Zoe, yeah, great defender, of course. Very tough player. Yeah, probably known for the Heat, but also for the Hornets as well. DeMar DeRozan is pretty high. I don't think I'd put DeMar DeRozan this high. I mean, his career is pretty similar to Lou Hudson, and his stats are pretty similar to Lou Hudson in my opinion. But they put Lou Hudson like, where did they put Lou Hudson? Like somewhere back here, right? They put Lou Hudson somewhere back here. And DeMar DeRozan, honestly, is to me pretty similar to Lou Hudson. So they have him pretty high. Yao Ming, also pretty high. I don't think I'd put Yao Ming this high. I mean, good player, very skilled, but yeah, no availability. And I mean, this is the weird thing. Joel Embiid's 106. Okay, he won an MVP, led the league in scoring twice. Great defender as well as a great scorer. Why you put Yao Ming higher than Joel Embiid? If it's because of longevity reasons, that obviously, like, I think Joel Embiid actually has better longevity than Yao Ming does. And he's a way better, like, he's a better scorer, better defender, like, won MVP. I don't get it. Why did they have Yao Ming higher than Joel Embiid? I don't know. Maybe because of cultural impact. No, that could make sense. Bob McAdoo at number 100. Very low for him, actually, because he's the 3-time scoring leader, won 2 championships, 1 MVP. I don't know why he's this low. Dennis Johnson, same thing. He's pretty low. 3-time champion, a finals MVP, 9-time all-defensive. Was a key player on all 3 of those championship teams, by the way. If you look up like really his numbers and his impact, I would say he was more impactful than Robert Parrish, to be honest. Yeah. Anthony Davis. Okay, this is weird. Why is Anthony Davis number 98? That's way too low for him. What? Why is he 98? 10-time All-Star. When he won that championship in 2020, he was arguably just as good as LeBron was. Like, he was really the co-star of that team. So what the heck? Why is he 98? I don't get that. Dave DeBusschere is pretty low too. A guy who won 2 championships, kind of a glue guy person as well, but he's also a pretty decent scorer too. But yeah, he's a pretty tough defensive player, good rebounder. Yeah, he's pretty low too. 90. So I would put Dave DeBusschere and Anthony Davis. I would put Anthony Davis closer to the top 60. I don't know why he's doing number 98. Dave DeBusschere, I'd put in the close to the top 70-ish. Bill Sharman, see? Why did they put Bill Sharman so high? I would put Tom Heinsohn here. Okay, so 4-time champion. Okay, he was one of the best shooters of his era. Probably the best shooting guard of the 50s. But again, on those Celtics championship teams, I would say Tom Heinsohn was probably more impactful and a higher scorer in those teams. Don't know why Bill Sharman's higher than him. Billy Cunningham, also pretty low for him, but I guess they're not including his ABA career too. If you include Billy Cunningham's ABA career, then he has another MVP. But if you don't, then I'd say he's still like, top 70 or 80-ish. Yeah, won a championship. It's part of the Wilt 76ers. Yeah, really pretty good rebound. Actually, he averaged a double-double for his career, 20 and 10. Also really good passer for his size as well in this position. So anyways, no, he's pretty low, I guess. I would put him like pretty close for Connie Hawkins, except he a little bit better longevity than Hawkins, I guess. Ben Wallace, okay. And Chris Mullin, why are they so high? So Ben Wallace, I understand why he's in the top 100, but I don't know why he's higher than Embiid and AD. I don't get that. Okay, he's like arguably the most important part of that 2004 Pistons team, right? They anchor that defense, 4 Defensive Player of the Years. We get that. Is he better than Dikembe Mutombo though? And he's not better than AD and Joel Embiid. I really don't think so. I mean, great defender, sure, but he has like no offense. That's the thing. So why is Ben Wallace this high? I don't know. Chris Mullin, same thing. Why is Chris Mullin this high? Like, he's a great shooter, sure, but I mean, what's the reason for Chris Mullin being this high? Like, why is he better than AD? Why is he better than Billy Cunningham? I don't get it. He's not even. Is he even better than Devin Booker? Like, I don't know. Like Chris Mullin, sure, in his prime, he was a great scorer and shooter, but he didn't really do anything, right? I don't get it. That's too high. Lenny Wilkens, again. I feel like he should be lower than this. I don't understand. I think he led the league in assists one time as a 9-time All-Star, but kind of an all-around player. But still, he never had any All-NBA selections. Didn't really go to any. I don't think actually maybe he did go to the finals, but he wasn't like one of the main guys in the finals. That was Bob Pettit and Cliff Hagan. So when he was part of the Sonics, he didn't really take that team to the playoffs. So I don't know. Jason Tatum. Okay, I guess if you want to put Tatum here, because he's still in his prime, he's still playing, right? Yeah, he's considered the best player, right, of the championship Celtics team. He didn't win the Finals MVP, but yeah, that actually makes sense, I guess. Shai, I think Shai should be higher, 90. He won a championship, Finals MVP, scoring title, and he's 90. I think he should be higher than that. Yeah. I don't know, SGA, it could be recency bias, or like they just think that actually it's recency bias in the other way. Maybe he just plays too recently, and maybe his career hasn't finished yet. So maybe Slam just doesn't value, like, they value you more if you completed your career already, I guess. So it could be it, maybe because SGA's career hasn't been that long so far. So I don't know, but SGA is pretty low in my opinion. Dolph Schayes is pretty low as well for me. Objectively, like 12-time All-NBA is pretty impressive. He was the best player on a championship team. That would be the 55 Nationals, right? Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking the 56. Yeah, 56 Warriors had Neil Johnston and Paul Arizin on it, not 55. 56 was a championship team for the Warriors. 55 was the Nationals, yeah. So Dolph Schayes is the best player on a championship team. 12-time All-NBA. He should be higher, I think. And Paul Arizin, which I don't think is better than Dolph Schayes, but they have him higher. Best player on the 56 Warriors, yeah. So basically, Dolph Schayes won a championship, then Paul Arizin won a championship the year after. Led the league in scoring 2 times, but I think Dolph Schayes was still a better player. Grant Hill, pretty high if you're talking about all the guys that we went past already, because Grant Hill he had a short prime, and he got injured. He was really good during that prime, but he didn't go anywhere, right? He still didn't take the Pistons anywhere during that prime, just put up nice numbers. So pretty high for someone that had a short prime and didn't go really many places in that prime. Bob Lanier, yeah. So he is better than Dave Bing, in my opinion. He should have been on the list instead of Dave Bing, like the NBA. That's one of the issues I had with the NBA 50 and 75. They put Dave Bing and not Bob Lanier. But yeah, 20 and 10. He averages a double-double. Didn't really go very far in the playoffs, but just put up really good numbers, I guess. And yeah, kind of a huge player. Jerry Lucas. Yeah, great rebounder, all-time rebounder, actually. 17 and 15. Those are his stats. Kind of known as a stat patter, though. Honestly, he padded a lot of those rebounds. but won a championship with the Knicks. I'm actually not sure if he's better than Dave DeBusschere, but at least I think he should be on the same level as Dave DeBusschere, so I'm not sure why he's that much higher. Joe Dumars, I think is the proper spot for him. Yeah, because he's the second best player on those Bad Boy Pistons teams, won a Finals MVP. Right, great defender. Pete Maravich, I think for me, I have mixed feelings about Pete Maravich. I don't think he should be this high. To me, he's not even top 100, honestly, because first of all, his prime is short. He got injured pretty fast. And for all his scoring and like passing and everything, he wasn't really that efficient. He didn't really bring his teams anywhere. When he was leader of the New Orleans Jazz, didn't really get that team anywhere. He actually didn't even make the playoffs with them. All he did was make the playoffs like 3 times with the Hawks, I think, with Lou Hudson, and that was it. And then he led the league in scoring. But I don't know. I wouldn't put his career this high. I think maybe if you're talking about including his college impact, but then he didn't make the NCAA Final Four in college either, so I don't know. I wouldn't consider him much of a winner, just more of a guy who puts up good stats. But, a lot of people find him flashy, I guess, to look at, kind of like Earl Monroe, so, which I'm guessing is going to be higher, because I haven't seen Earl Monroe yet, which means he must be pretty high. Sidney Moncrief, that's fair. I mean, him and Joe Dumars are pretty close to me. Sidney Moncrief, more of a leader, though, because he actually was the leader of the Bucks in the 80s. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, great defender, great two-way player. Yeah, that's fine for him. Hal Greer, I think fine. 7-time All-NBA, I believe. 10-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA. And I think he was the leading scorer on the 67 76ers. So, yeah, Wilt was not the leading scorer on that team. I think it was actually Hal Greer. He was the main scorer of that team. So that's fine with that. Probably the third best guard of the 60s after West and Oscar. David Thompson. I'm really surprised David Thompson's this high. Short prime. I know he scored 73 points, but yeah, I wouldn't put him this high because honestly, nothing happened to him, right? In his career, like, what did he do? Like, he was a great scorer for a little while, and then that was it. Didn't really take his teams anywhere. Honestly, I don't think he's even better than Devin Booker. Devin Booker scored 72, right? But unlike Devin Booker, David Thompson didn't even take his team to the finals. I don't think he even went to conference finals. Yeah, that's definitely pretty high for David Thompson. I get that his prime was pretty good, but he didn't do anything in his career, really. And if you compare him to Joel Embiid, I mean, yeah, they put Joel Embiid like 106 or something. I mean, Joel Embiid won an MVP and 2 scoring titles. David Thompson didn't win anything. And he's ahead of AD too, which doesn't make any sense either, right? I mean, AD won a championship as a co-star, like first or second best player on the team in that playoff run. So I don't know. Why is David Thompson so high? Nate Thurmond, okay. Yeah, I can see why. Average 15 and 15. Really good rebounder. As not a good scorer, actually. I don't think he was very efficient, but he was a pretty good rebounder and a great defender. One of the greatest defenders of his era. So he went to 2 finals, I think, with Wilt in 64 and then again with Rick Barry in 67. So, yeah. Chris Webber. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Chris Webber is very, very talented. And unfortunately, his career didn't last too long, but he was kind of a beast. I mean, kind of did everything. Right? Scorer, rebound, pass. He was a great passer for his position. Averaged a double-double, like 20 and 10. Led the 2002 Kings almost to the finals. So, yeah, I'm okay with that. Sam Jones, also okay with this one. 10-time champion. Very, very clutch. Was the leading scorer on a lot of those championship teams after Tom Heinsohn retired, I think. No, actually, I would say it was, yeah, when Heinsohn started winding down and before John Havlicek started, coming off the bench and being a starter. Yeah, in between, Sam Jones was kind of the main scorer on that team. Yep. Alex English, the all-time leading scorer of the 80s, by the way. Yeah, but he led the league in scoring once and was pretty much just a scorer. Really, he's one of those high-scoring forwards of the 80s, and don't remember him going very far in the playoffs, but yeah, just remember him for his scoring. That's it. Kind of a silent scorer, though. Parrish, 75. I think I'm okay with that, just because he has so much longevity. Yeah, I mean, Bird, McHale, and Parrish, right? Parrish is like the third wheel. Wasn't quite as good as Bird or McHale, but reliable. Yeah, just a kind of a reliable guy in the low post. You just kind of feed him the ball, he gets it, gets the rebounds, and just kind of a low-key star. Not a superstar, but just a star. Dwight Howard, a little bit low. I would actually put Dwight Howard kind of higher in the top 50 for me. But I know that Dwight Howard is, he was snubbed from the NBA top 75, unfortunately. He should have been on that NBA top 75, but 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, 8-time All-NBA, led a team to the finals as the main guy. I mean, he should have been on that NBA top 75. What's weird is Klay Thompson being ahead of Dwight Howard. Like, really? Klay Thompson, okay, great shooter, of course. But if you look at his teams, right, like 2015, was he better, more impactful than Iggy was? Iggy won Finals MVP. Was Klay Thompson really better than Iggy, though, or Draymond? 2016, I don't think he was better than Draymond. 2017, he wasn't better than KD and Curry, obviously, or Draymond, in my opinion. Same thing 2018. I think it was only 2019 you could consider him like kind of like a top 3 player on those teams. And 2022, kind of as well, but after Andrew Wiggins. I think Andrew Wiggins was more impactful than him in 2022. So I'm not sure. The thing is, was Klay Thompson even the second best player in any of those championship runs? Like, I'm not actually sure. And why is he ranked ahead of Dwight? I know he has more championships, but I wouldn't consider him higher than Dwight Howard, to me. Okay, Adrian Dantley. I think he's always been very underrated, but that's fine. Yeah, led the league in scoring 2 times. Very, very efficient mid-range scorer. So, people called him a ball hog, but I don't know. He almost won a championship with the Pistons. So, yeah, like very, very close. He almost won a championship as the leading scorer of the Pistons, actually, in 88. So, it's very close to winning one. But yeah, I'm fine with him being there. Chris Bosh is a bit high for me. I wouldn't put him this high. I would put Chris Bosh on the same level as Amari Stoudemire, to be honest. If Amari Stoudemire is all the way back there, Chris Bosh was 1-time All-NBA. Come on. He played in the same era as Stoudemire. Stoudemire is 5-time All-NBA. He's 1-time All-NBA. 11-time All-Star. Okay, sure. 2-time champion, but that's because he played with LeBron. He was the 3rd best player on those teams. Like, if you gave LeBron Stoudemire instead of Bosh, I think they still could have won 2. And I think Stoudemire was better, to be honest. Like, he has more All-NBA selections in the same era. Like, he has 5 All-NBA, Bosh has 1. I think Bosh and Stoudemire should at least be similar, but he's like way higher than Stoudemire for some reason. Pau Gasol, okay. Well, I think Gasol is actually a lot better than Bosh, in my opinion. He was the 2nd best player on those 2 championship teams. And yeah, he actually puts up great games in the playoffs. I've never seen Bosh actually do much of that. Sure, neither of them got past the first round when they were by themselves, but at least Paul Gasol was in the Western Conference, okay? So he kind of has an excuse. He was in a pretty tough conference. Bosh couldn't get past the first round in the Eastern Conference. So that's a different story, right? Without LeBron, Bosh couldn't get past the first round in the weakened Eastern Conference. Like, Gasol, he kind of has an excuse. He was playing the West, right? Kobe couldn't get past the first round either. So I don't know, man. I think Gasol should be a lot higher than Bosh, if you ask me. Damian Lillard, I guess, but yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I think he should be with Sidney Moncrief and those guys, honestly. But sure, I like Damian Lillard, another great player that unfortunately couldn't take his teams far enough because, well, he was kind of the lone all-star on his team for most of his prime. Yeah, but pretty clutch player, puts up great numbers. Yeah, just never really got there to the finals because, well, he didn't have a good supporting cast for most of his career, so that's not really his fault. Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker beside each other. Interesting. Well, Manu Ginobili, like, objectively speaking, Tony Parker has the better career, right? Like, Manu Ginobili was a 6-man, and he came off the bench. I know he's considered one of the greatest 6-men ever. And he really could have been a starter, but he sacrificed his stats for that. And I get that, but objectively speaking, Tony Parker had the better career. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's starting point guard, more All-Star selections, more All-NBA selections, Finals MVP, won as many championships. Yeah, Tony Parker's objectively like had the better career than Manu Ginobili. And I think Manu Ginobili and Klay Thompson should be pretty similar, and both of them should be actually much lower, in my opinion. Dave Cowens, yeah, actually kind of low for him, I think. You're talking about a guy who's the second best, not actually top two player or top three player on two championship teams, won an MVP, one of the best rebounders ever, also a pretty good passer for his position, averaged almost 4 assists a game as a center. And the definition of hustle, I mean, he out-rebounded guys like Kareem, right? If you watch that 1974 finals, really out-rebounded Kareem on the boards and everything. Yeah, had a lot of hustle and heart to his play. I think Dave Cowens always gets a little bit shafted in these all-time comparisons here. But I would put Cowens a little bit higher than that. Paul Pierce, I guess, is okay ranking him here. The 2008 Celtics team just had a bunch of All-Stars. Pierce wasn't so much better than KG. I think KG could have won Finals MVP too, but Pierce won it. 10-time All-Star, was a pretty good scorer in his prime. Yeah, it's okay. Dennis Rodman, hard to rank Rodman, but I guess putting him here is fine. I mean, considering he's, part of 5 championship teams, led the league in rebounding 7 times, considered one of the greatest rebounders, if not the greatest rebounder of all time. So I get that. Again, another guy that everyone should have a guy like this on his team, who's like kind of a defensive glue guy, like Draymond, Bobby Jones, those guys, Paul Silas. Bill Walton, another guy that's really hard to rank, but putting him here is fine, I guess. Like, he just had a really, really great all-time championship run in 1977 with the Blazers, won MVP, won Finals MVP, led the league in blocks and rebounding. Just had a really, really great year, and then didn't really have much of a career after that. Won another championship as a 6-man. Hard to rank him, really, but like, he's one of the big what-ifs, right, in NBA history. But just based off his limited career, I guess you could put him here. Like, just his potential was so high. So, yeah, Bill Walton, hard to rank, though. Bob Pettit, okay, he's pretty low. Number 62. Yeah, I don't know if I would rank him this low. I'd put Bob Pettit in my top 30, actually. Because the guy won a championship beating Bill Russell in the finals. He's the only player to do that. He would have had a Finals MVP if they had him back then. He led the league in scoring like twice. He had two league MVPs. Was considered probably in 1950s, yeah, like the best power forward of the 50s, and even the 60s he could hold his own, right? Like, I don't know, 26 and 16, he's one of the greatest rebounders. I think 16 rebounds a game. Like, nobody really talks about him like 6'9" and averaging 16 rebounds a game, but I think Bob Pettit should be higher, to be honest. Yeah, just the best forward of the best power forward of the 1950s has to be more than that. And honestly, if you look at the 1960s as well, like, who's the best power forward in the 1960s? I think I would still choose Bob Pettit. So it's not even just the 50s. I think I would still choose Bob Pettit for the 60s as well, to be honest. So yeah, really the best power forward of two decades. I think he should be higher. Reggie Miller's way too high. I mean, I definitely would not put him this high. I mean, putting him ahead of Bob Pettit is just stupid. Like, Reggie Miller, I know you want to talk era, but come on. Objectively, Bob Pettit had the better career, okay? I know he played in the 50s and 60s, but Reggie Miller, okay? 5-time All-Star. He doesn't have any All-NBA first and second team selections. And he reached an NBA Finals, sure, in 2000. Didn't win anything, though. And yeah, that's really it. He's known as being a great shooter, a great clutch player, making memorable shots. But Bob Pettit won a championship and 2 MVPs, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, objectively, I think Pettit had the better career compared to Reggie Miller. And, like, I wouldn't put him ahead of Bill Walton and, like, Dave Cowens, Paul Pierce. Like, no, Reggie Miller's not ahead of Paul Pierce. Come on. I don't know what they're thinking. Bernard King at number 60. Another kind of an odd choice. Like, why is Bernard King this high? He had kind of a short prime. Yes, he was a great scorer in his prime. He averaged like 30. He led the league in scoring. Had an amazing playoffs versus the Bird Celtics in '84. But why is he higher than these guys? Like, objectively, he's not higher than Bill Walton because they both had short primes, but Bill Walton actually led his team to a championship. I don't get it. So Bernard King had kind of a short prime, didn't have the longevity. So I don't know what their criteria is for ranking. Gary Payton, okay. I'm actually okay with Payton being here. Yeah. Very good point guard, obviously great defensively as well. Yeah, can kind of do it all in the court. So yeah, just wasn't didn't quite lead the Sonics to a championship, but led them to a finals. So I'm okay with them being there. Earl Monroe, see, this is another weird one. Why have Earl Monroe be this high? Okay, what did Earl Monroe do to justify the slot? In 58, he was like one-time All-NBA. Wasn't the best player on a championship. Actually, wasn't even a top 3 player on the championship team. I think if you're talking about the 1973. Okay, so first he did reach a finals with Western-Seld in 1971, but then didn't win anything. And then 1973, he won a championship with the Knicks. But the thing is, he wasn't. Willis Reed got the Finals MVP, so he wasn't better than him. Walt Frazier, he's not better than Walt Frazier in that Finals, and he wasn't better than Dave DeBusschere in that Finals. So, wasn't top 3 player on a championship team, one-time All-NBA. I'm struggling to understand why Earl Monroe is this high. He should really be ranked similar to Gail Goodrick, who is, I think, all the way back in the hundreds, I think. He should be similar to Gail Goodrick, because honestly, they faced each other like 3 times in the Finals, and they have similar stats and awards. I don't know why he's this high. Clyde Drexler, yeah, fine. I'm okay with him being here. Led a team to 2 finals, right? Second best shooting guard of his era after Jordan. Yeah, I'm totally fine with him. One of the great rebounding and passing guards, shooting guards, I mean. And won a championship with Hakeem on the Rockets. So I'm okay with Clyde Drexler being there. Okay, Vince Carter. Again, why? Why is Vince Carter ahead of Clyde Drexler? Vince Carter, I know he had longevity. He played like 22 seasons, but okay, what did Vince Carter do? Okay, in his prime, he lost to the 76ers, right? And then that was it, really. I think that was the peak of his career, is basically with the Raptors, and then taking the Iverson 76ers to like 7 games. And then he was part of the Nets for a bit, and that was his prime. Why is he better than Clyde Drexler? I don't understand what their ranking is. Vince Carter is not better than Clyde Drexler, okay? I mean, Drexler took his team to 2 NBA Finals and won a championship, so yeah, Carter didn't do that. Tiny Archibald, also kind of high for me. Like, I understand he led the league in scoring and assists in the same season, but yeah, I mean, in his prime, he didn't really lead the Kansas City Kings, yeah, I don't think he really led them that far, or the Cincinnati Royals. And he won his championship when he was a little bit past his prime with the Celtics, and that was with the Bird Celtics, right? I don't know why he's so high. Honestly, I think he should be like with Damian Lillard, you know, like he should be that level. I don't know why he's this high. Yeah, but a lot of head scratchers now. Willis Reed, I'm okay with him being this spot. I mean, yeah, the leader of the captain of the New York Knicks during the 70s dynasty, 2 championships, 3 finals, 2 finals MVPs, and MVP. Yeah, he has the awards. Just doesn't have the longevity, but he has the awards to be this high. James Worthy. I'm not sure James Worthy is better than Willis Reed, though. I mean, James Worthy was kind of the 3rd star on the Showtime Lakers. He has a finals MVP, 3 championships, sure, but Willis Reed has 2 finals MVPs and an MVP. So I'm not sure that James Worthy should be ahead of Willis Reed, to be honest. I would put Willis Reed ahead. Ray Allen, okay. But Ray Allen, he doesn't have that many All-NBA selections, and he was considered an all-time shooter, but yeah. He won 1 championship as a top 3 player with the Celtics, and another one kind of as a bench player with the Heat. I'm not sure. He's a little bit high for my taste. But one thing is, yeah, he should definitely be higher than Reggie Miller. But I wouldn't put him higher than like Paul Pierce, for example. I think Pierce was still better than Ray Allen. I mean, Pierce won a Finals MVP on the same team, right? George Mikan, I know he's a hard person to rank, but I would kind of put Mikan higher. You're talking about a guy who completely dominated his era, went to like, I think he went to like 5 finals in a row or 6 finals in a row, right? And he won 5 championships. He says 4 here, but he actually won 5 championships. And led the league in scoring like 3 times, and yeah, really a great defender too for his era. Yeah, he just completely dominated his era. He was like far and away the best player of his era. So I know he played in the early 50s, but he was just like by far the best player of his era. So I don't know if he should be this low. He should be in the top 50 in my opinion. Wes Unseld, hard player to rank as well because he has intangibles. Kind of another one of the, he was a glue guy, but that was also kind of a superstar at the same time. Interestingly enough, he didn't really score a lot, but it was a great rebounder, also a great passer, especially for outlet passing. Led his team to like what, 4 finals in the 70s, I think, 71, 75, 78, 79, yeah. So he also won an MVP and a Finals MVP. So yeah, just one of those guys had a lot of intangibles, so it's hard to rank Wes Unseld, but okay, maybe he's top 50, but I would maybe have him in the top 60 or 70-ish. Dominique Wilkins is pretty high. Don't know why he's in the top 50. I wouldn't have him in the top 50. Like, okay, I understand he put up great stats and he's a great scorer. He led the league in scoring, but he actually never even made a finals and never even made a conference finals, actually. So, yeah, I don't know. He didn't even make a conference finals. So, what can I say about a guy that just scored a lot and never made a conference finals? I mean, he has the stats, sure, but I don't think, again, is Paul Pierce, I mean, is he better than Paul Pierce? Is he better than Clyde Drexler? I don't really think so. T-Mac, again, I think is too high. I think both these guys are too high. Melo and T-Mac, they really overrated these scorers, okay? Bernard King, Dominique Wilkins, Melo, T-Mac, they're all way too high. T-Mac had kind of a short prime as well. He should really be with, he and Bernard King should both be lower and similar, actually. So, anyways, T-Mac didn't even get out of the first round in his prime. Yeah, that's really all I gotta say. He never got out of the first round in the weak East. So, yeah, Melo, again, another guy who's just about scoring. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, he went as far as the conference finals against Kobe, right? But that was it. I wouldn't have either of these guys high. I mean, I would have Melo. Actually, I'm not sure if I would have Melo ahead of T-Mac because T-Mac had a really great prime, possibly better than Melo's prime. But Melo did go farther in the playoffs. But I would have both of these guys lower. That's one thing. Like, I would not have him lower than Willis Reed, Clyde Drexler, Gary Payton, Paul Pierce, Dave Cowens. I would have all those guys higher, actually, to be honest, because they had actually better careers. Luka Doncic is pretty high. But actually, I get it because he actually led a team to the finals, you know, and he puts up insane stats. So he's like, these guys didn't lead a team to the finals, right? Luka Doncic actually did, and he puts up insane stats, so I understand. Kevin McHale, okay, second best player in the Bird 3 Celtics, great defender as well, and really great low post scorer. I'm okay with Kevin McHale being top 50. Yeah, so that's actually, I'm okay with that. Steve Nash, I'm okay with this too. I mean, 2-time MVP, led a team to the Western Conference Finals a few times. Yeah, led the league in passing 5 times and stuff. Great shooter, obviously not a good defender, but just a great offensive, great offensive playmaker. So, all-time offensive playmaker actually. Elvin Hayes, yeah, a name that deserves to be brought up more, I think. Really good. He had a lot of longevity. Leading scorer on that Bullets team that won the finals. He actually should have won finals MVP over Wes Unseld if you look at the numbers. But yeah, great rebounder, great scorer, great defender as well. Yeah, I think he deserves that spot and has a longevity too. Rick Barry, if he has his ABA stuff on here, he would be even higher, but I'm okay with this just being his NBA career. He led a team to the finals in 67, averaging 41 points per game in that finals. And he took that Wilt Chamberlain 76ers to 6 games, right? Pretty crazy. And also he led a team to the championship as an underdog, 75 Warriors, and he kind of swept the Bullets. So, yeah, an all-time scorer and a great passer, actually, for his position as well. So I'm okay with him being here just for his NBA career. George Gervin, I understand they put him right beside Rick Barry here, but I would actually have Barry a bit higher, but I understand because Gervin led the league in scoring 4 times, and Gervin actually was quite good in the playoffs too, just like Barry. They both raised their game in the playoffs. So that's the thing, right? Looking at all-time scorers here, both Gervin and Rick Barry kind of raised their game in the playoffs, their scoring games. So anyways, they're pretty close, I guess. Okay, this is a weird one. Okay, Kawhi Leonard. Okay, I understand Kawhi Leonard here because his availability issues. When he is healthy, he's like one of the best players on the planet. Obviously, look at 2019, right? Led the Raptors to a championship, two-time Finals MVP, great two-way player. But he's just not available that often. I understand that. But why is Kyrie higher? I don't understand that. So Kyrie's higher than Kawhi? Why? Who's going to take Kyrie over Kawhi? That doesn't make any sense, right? I don't know what they're thinking here, okay? Because if you're talking about just the availability, but then Kyrie's not really that available either, right? So it's not like Kyrie's always available. He's been out for many various reasons. So I don't know. I don't think anyone's going to take Kyrie over Kawhi, especially not healthy Kawhi. I definitely wouldn't. Imagine if Braun had Kawhi on his team instead of Kyrie. They actually might have been able to beat those Warriors teams. Okay, yeah, like the KD Curry Warriors. I think they would actually win with healthy Kawhi and Braun's team. Westbrook and Harden, I'm okay with them being beside each other because I think their careers are pretty close. Westbrook has the triple doubles, obviously. They both have MVPs. Harden can also get triple doubles too, just not as much as Westbrook. But Harden, yeah, is the better scorer, right? 3-time scoring leader. Westbrook does actually they're both really good at passing too. Maybe Westbrook's a bit better at passing, but Harden's also really good at passing too. Westbrook's the better rebounder because he's more athletic. Yeah, they both have similar careers, I guess. Yeah, neither of them have led their team to a championship, so. Bob Cousy. Yep, well, I guess he is higher than Mikan, because, yeah, he played a little bit later than Mikan. Won 6 championships and an MVP. Led the league in assists 8 times, so, yeah. It's hard to rank Cousy as well, but I would definitely... I would have Mikan in the top 50, and I would probably have Cousy around here, so that's fine for him. Walt Frazier right beside Cousy, yeah, I'm okay with that ranking as well. Frazier is arguably as important as Willis Reed. I think they're both like kind of 1A, 1B there. He could have won the Finals MVP actually in 1970 as well. But yeah, 2-time champion, great two-way player, one of the best defensive point guards of his era. Yeah, I think Frazier and Cousy could be pretty close. I'm okay with them being here. I think Jason Kidd should also be pretty close, but maybe he's higher. Okay, Patrick Ewing and Karl Malone being right beside each other is interesting. I never thought about them like that. I think Ewing, great player, but the thing is, he played in a time where there's too much competition at his position. So he had to compete with like Hakeem and Shaq and Robinson, at least those 3 guys. So that's why he didn't get an MVP. But he's like, in his prime before his injuries, yeah, he was a great two-way player, right? He could score, could defend, could rebound, took a team to the finals, but just not at the same level as Hakeem, Robinson, or Shaq. That's the thing. Malone, 2-time MVP, incredible longevity, averaged like 25 points per game, like for like 18 seasons. 3rd all-time in scoring. I think Karl Malone should be ranked a bit higher than Patrick Ewing. I think the thing is, Malone just had way better longevity, and he has the 2 MVPs, right? So that plus he averaged 25 points per game, like, yeah, his scoring is just, yeah, I don't think I would have Malone just one spot ahead. I would think I would have, actually, Malone, I would have him in the top 30, and Ewing, I would have him in the top 50. Yeah, I wouldn't have them right beside each other. I think Malone's actually quite a few spots higher for me. Okay, Jason Kidd, he's here. Yep. So obviously, I think I'm fine with this spot, right? It's a great all-around player, right? Great defender, and just does everything for the team except for maybe scoring. So yeah, gets the triple doubles and everything. Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul is actually in my top 30, but he's right around the edge here. Yeah, he unfortunately never won a ring, but probably he's got everything else except for the MVP too. I think he should have had an MVP at least in 2008, but he's got everything except for the ring. Really, I think he has a longevity. I mean, longevity in the sense that he's played a lot of seasons, but I know he's gotten injured fairly often too. And he's a great passer, great defender, great leader. He's kind of like Kidd in many ways. Doesn't get the triple doubles like Kidd, but I think he'll end up his career, of course, with even more higher totals than Kidd will, and he's a better scorer than Kidd. He's yeah, you can actually count on Chris Paul to score your team's points. You can't really do that with Kidd. So yeah, David Robinson at 30. I would actually have David Robinson a bit higher, maybe like 5 spots higher. Same thing with Dirk. I would have them both like 5 spots higher. I think they're close to each other. Like Dirk and Robinson are pretty close to each other, but I would just have them like a little bit higher, like 5 spots higher each. Yeah, Robinson, I mean, great two-way player, scored like 71 points in the game, had a quadruple double, great rebounder, great defender, had a defensive player of the year. Won 2 championships, right? But not just not a leader as much as Tim Duncan was. He just didn't have the leadership in him. Dirk, on the other hand, did have the leadership in him and led his team to a ring, right? An all-time great playoff run in 2011, MVP, Finals MVP. I think they're overall pretty close. Dirk just doesn't have the other side of the ball. He's obviously not as good of a defender as Robinson is, not as athletic as Robinson is, but he had the leadership intangibles that Robinson didn't have. Robinson had the tangibles, Dirk had the intangibles, I guess I would say. Yeah, like Dirk's a much better shooter, but then Robinson is also a great offensive player as well. They're both pretty close. I would just have them higher. KG, so this is a weird thing, okay? KG, yes, I would have him a little bit higher than Dirk and David Robinson. I think KG is a little bit, like, just like 1 or 2 spots higher than them, and so I'm okay with him being like 1 or 2 spots higher. Like he can play both sides of the ball. Obviously, he's a very complete player, like both sides. Great defender, can score, can lead a team. Great passer for his position as well. Yeah, and he's won a championship, won an MVP. I think he's really got a little bit of both. A little bit of Dirk in him and a little bit of Robinson in him, so I'm okay with KG being higher. The weird thing is Stockton being this high. Why is Stockton higher than Malone? Why is Stockton higher than KG? Why is Stockton higher than Dirk and Robinson? I don't understand that. Okay? Now, I understand if you want to put Stockton, maybe like he's around the same level as Chris Paul. Like he has more longevity than Chris Paul does, but otherwise they're pretty similar. Chris Paul can actually even score the ball better than Stockton can. But I don't understand why he's so high. Like, I would have him on the same level as Chris Paul and Jason Kidd, honestly. They're all pretty close to me. Kidd, CP3, and Stockton. But for some reason, Stockton's ahead of KG, Dirk, Robinson, and even his co-star, Karl Malone. Karl Malone had the MVPs on the same team. I don't understand this. Why is Stockton higher than Malone? It doesn't make sense to me. Okay, John Havlicek. I'm okay with him. I think he's a little bit low, but overall it's okay. I mean, considering he played a long time ago. Yeah, he's a 8-time champion, won a Finals MVP, great defender as well, very clutch. He actually led a team to the championship, like as co-captain 2 times, even after Russell retired, right? Because people just think of his championship as like, oh, he had Bill Russell and stuff, but he actually led, you know, his team to 2 championships as the co-captain after Russell retired. So he's more than just another one of the Russell guys. So yeah, yeah, he should be definitely top 30. Charles Barkley is pretty high. I mean, considering, why is he so much higher than Malone? And why is he higher than Dirk and Robinson? I wouldn't put Charles Barkley higher than Dirk and Robinson. I mean, he could be a little bit lower than those guys, but I wouldn't put him higher than KG, Dirk, or Robinson. I mean, he won an MVP. He's a great offensive player. I know on offense he does everything, right? Great rebounder, great scorer, great passer for his position and his size. But I don't know. He doesn't have the championships. David Robinson does. Dirk does. KG does. And Barkley doesn't play any defense either. I don't know why he's higher. Another head scratcher. Okay, Jokic. A little bit low, right? I think Jokic could actually be top 20. I mean, the guy has 3 MVPs, a Finals MVP, and yeah, his stats are just ridiculous. You're talking about a center that can shoot the ball and get triple doubles all the time. Just kind of a crazy, yeah, a guy that gets you crazy stats and also can win you stuff. So I think Jokic is top 20 for me. I don't know, he's a little bit outside here. All-time great passer for a center, obviously, and just a great passer in general. He averages 7 assists a game as a center. That's ridiculous. Dwayne Wade, I think he's a little bit higher than, I wouldn't put him higher than KG. That's the thing. I would put him on the same level as Dirk, but I wouldn't put him higher than KG. But yeah, I understand if you're. He's definitely somewhere around here, top 30, top 25-ish. Yep, three-time champion, had an all-time finals run in 2006, right? And great defender as well. So yeah, really a great shot blocker. So anyways, Dwayne Wade is here. Probably I would have Jokic ahead of Dwayne Wade as well. Okay, Scottie Pippen. This is weird. I don't know why. Okay, I wouldn't have Scottie Pippen ahead of John Havlicek, because the thing is, if you compare Pippen and Havlicek, okay, Pippen has 6 rings, Havlicek has 8, and Pippen's stats are pretty similar to Havlicek's stats, except Havlicek is a better scorer than Pippen is. Havlicek has more rings. Havlicek has a Finals MVP, and Havlicek actually led his team to 2 championships. So yeah, why is Pippen higher than Havlicek? I don't know. Like maybe because of defense, but then Havlicek is a good defender too. So I don't understand that. So I wouldn't have Pippen higher than Havlicek. I would have him actually a little bit lower than Havlicek. Giannis, okay, I understand he's probably around this ranking. I would probably have him here as well. Yeah, 2-time MVP, a championship, Finals MVP, just great on both sides of the ball. Right, great defender. Great offensive player, dominant, hard to stop. Also great passer for his position too. Oh no, Allen Iverson. Why is... Okay, Allen Iverson number 20. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. Elgin Baylor at 19. I mean, I can kind of understand for Elgin Baylor, but also not really, because... Okay, let's talk about Elgin Baylor and Iverson. I think both of them are ranked too high, okay? So Elgin Baylor, I understand he was like very athletic for his time, one of the first guys to play above the rim. I know he had crazy stats. He averages 27 and 13 a game. Okay, but the thing is, he never won an MVP. He never won a championship. And you put him this much higher than Rick Barry and Bob Pettit? I don't know. I think Baylor at least should be on the same level as Bob Pettit and Rick Barry. And Bob Pettit and Rick Barry both had championships. They can also score the ball as well as Baylor can. So I would actually have them higher than Baylor by a bit, or maybe even on the same tier. But you put Baylor that much higher than Rick Barry and Bob Pettit, I don't understand, right? Like objectively, Bob Pettit and Rick Barry had better careers than Baylor, and they can score the ball just as well. Bob Pettit can rebound just even better actually than Baylor can. They actually both won more awards too. Barry has a Finals MVP. Baylor has 2 MVPs. I don't understand. One of those MVPs even came in Baylor's era. They all play in the same era too. So yeah, I don't know. I would have Baylor, Pettit, and Rick Barry all around the same, but I don't know why he's so much higher. Iverson, yeah, I don't get it. Why is Iverson so high? He's not top 20. He won an MVP. He went to 1 finals. I know, but that's it. Really, that's 2001. Like he took his team to the finals and won MVP. Okay. What did he do for the other parts of his career? He led the league in scoring 4 times. I think he should be similar to George Gervin, right? So you look at George Gervin, and I do this. I'm not the only one to make this comparison between Gervin's career and Iverson's. Okay, both of them led the league in scoring 4 times. The difference is that Iverson won the MVP and took his team to the finals. That's it. But is he that much higher? Is he 21 spots higher than George Gervin? I don't think so. And is he better than David Robinson, Dirk, KG? Is he better than Havlicek? Is he better than Barkley? Is he better than Jokic? Is he better than Wade? Is he better than Giannis? Like, this doesn't make sense, right? Why is Iverson better than all those guys? It doesn't make sense. Okay, Isaiah Thomas. I personally would not have Isaiah this high, but I know Isaiah has these intangibles, right? Led his team to 2 championships and a dynasty, kind of, like 3 finals. I don't know. I kind of can't get past the fact that Isaiah is not really an efficient player. He's not like he's a good scorer, right? He's a scoring point guard, but not really an efficient scorer, and he's not really he's a pretty good defender, but not really good enough to get all defensive. So he didn't have any all defensive selections. I don't know. If you look up the career, I think you would find Walt Frazier actually's careers to be almost better, right? You look at Walt Frazier's stats. Isaiah's a better passer. Both of them are good scorers. Frazier's a better rebounder. Both of them have 2 championships. Isaiah has a Finals MVP. So if you're gonna put Isaiah higher, I can see you putting him like Walt Frazier has all defensive selections too. He has like 7 of them. So I can see people putting Isaiah maybe like a little bit higher of Frazier, but this much higher, I don't know. Yeah, I think that Isaiah gets overrated sometimes, honestly. And I don't know, is he even better than Chris Paul? Like the thing is, you give Chris Paul Isaiah's teammates, I think he would have been able to win with them, right? So I don't know, like I feel like Isaiah gets overrated sometimes, personally. Jerry West, I'm okay with him. Like he's definitely top 20 no matter what how you slice it, right? 9 NBA finals, finals MVP on a losing team. He puts up incredible stats, 27, 6 and 7. Great shooter for his era, good defender as well. The logo, you know, hard not to have West on your top 20. Whatever you do, Oscar Robertson and Jerry West should be pretty similarly ranked, right? Oscar triple doubles, right? 26, 7, and 9 a game. That's pretty crazy stats. I think him and Oscar could be considered maybe the slightly better offensive player, but both of them are really good. I think West was the better all-around player, though. If you ask me, I actually have West ranked a little bit higher. Moses Malone, I'm okay with him being here. That's really where he belongs, right? All-time center, talk a few-time MVP, one-time Finals MVP, all-time rebounder. Yeah, I mean, him and Jokic should really be similar, right? They have kind of similar resumes. So I don't know why Jokic is much lower, maybe because of his career still being ongoing. I see that Slam is ranking guys, like with their career still ongoing, they're ranking them a bit lower. But I think Jokic and Moses should be on the same level. Hakeem, okay. Obviously, Hakeem should be in the top 15 somewhere, right? All-time great defender and offensive player, just an all-time great two-way player. Led his team to 2 championships with minimal support. 2-time defensive player of the year, all-time leader in block shots. Dream Shake. I mean, yeah, he should actually be in the top, arguably in the top 10, but sure, top 15 is really objectively where he belongs, I guess. Yeah, if you include Dr. J's ABA awards, he would be even higher, because he's like the best ABA player ever. He led his team to like 2 ABA finals. Actually, was it? Yeah, 2 ABA finals. Won 2 playoffs MVPs, and then won like 3 straight MVPs in the ABA. So also led the team in scoring, I think, like 3 times. Led the league in scoring 3 times. So yeah, if you include his ABA stats and awards, I think he'd be easily top 10. But just his NBA career alone, yeah, I think still top 20, top 15 makes sense. Still led his team to like, what, 4 finals in the 1980s. And then actually it was Moses that really led the team to the championship, but Dr. J was still a big part of that. Still won an MVP and championship in the NBA. So anyways, yeah, if you were to include his ABA awards and stats, he'd be a lot higher. He'd be in top 10, but yeah, top 15, really where Dr. J belongs. And yeah, he's right beside KD. I think it's a tough pick between KD and Dr. J, but it's interesting to see Larry Bird right beside KD, because I always think of Larry Bird as a top 10 player. So it's interesting they left Larry Bird out of the top 10. I actually think Larry Bird is quite a bit higher than KD, like a few spots higher. Yeah, I understand KD's definitely top 15, right? 2-time champion with the Warriors, of course, 2-time Finals MVP, one of the greatest scorers ever, one of the greatest shooters ever as well. 27, 7, 4. Yeah, like everyone knows KD is one of the greatest scorers ever, and he has those championships with the Warriors, and no one can take that away from him. So I understand that's top 15. Larry Bird, I think he should be in the top 10, right? I think having him as outside of the top 10 is a bit of that's a bit of a hot take, right? Because Bird, 3-time MVP, 3 championships, 2 Finals MVPs, and did it all on both sides of the court, honestly. Like, he's a better defender than KD, I think. And scoring-wise, yes, KD's a better scorer, but then Bird can also shoot the ball as well. He's a better rebounder as well, because Bird can actually play near the basket and 10 rebounds a game. And he has more heart. I would say he has better mentality, right? It's the leadership and intangibles. He has that over KD. So I think Bird should be top 10. Oh, there's Steph Curry as number 10. Okay. I think Curry's pretty close to the top 10. I personally wouldn't have him in my top 10, but I can see he's pretty close. I don't think he's necessarily better than Hakeem. So, yeah, I mean, he's a better offensive player, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, people compare him to Magic. Yeah, Magic Johnson. And you want to compare their impact as point guards. Well, Curry's, yeah, of course, greatest shooter ever, right? 4 championships, 2 MVPs, a Finals MVP. Really should have 2 Finals MVPs. Yeah, I think he's pretty close to top 10. If you want to have Curry in top 10, I don't have any issues with that. He's an all-time offensive player. Tim Duncan, number 9. I'm guessing they have Kobe higher than Duncan here, which I don't agree with, but they do. So Duncan should be closer to the top 5 than the top 10, if you ask me. Guy has 5 championships, 2 MVPs, 3 Finals MVPs. Great on both sides of the ball. He raises his games in the playoffs. He's a great teammate, all-time great teammate. And yeah, really an all-time great post player and defender. And yeah, he has leadership intangibles, you know? He really has everything. So I actually don't know why Duncan isn't included in the top 5 more, because I really do think Duncan has more of a case for the top 5. Never missed the playoffs in his career. Okay, Wilt is number 8. I think this is also kind of a hot take, because I think most people have Wilt maybe top 5. I mean, the guy is just insane when it comes to his stats. He averaged 30 and 23 a game, 4 assists a game as a center. He led the league in assists once as well. He led the league in rebounding like 11 times, scoring 7 times. Scored 100 points in a game, averaged 50 points in a season. I mean, all these crazy stats, right? 4-time MVP. Yeah. I think Wilt, the only reason you would not have him in your top 5 is because his lack of championships, which I understand. But I think most people would still have him in the top 5 because of his utter dominance, right? Just went into the league and completely dominated. Scored, rebounds, passed, like everything that showed up in the stat sheet, blocked shots, you know, defended, really did everything, and in a dominant way. So I think it's a bit low for him. Shaq being ahead of Wilt, I think that yeah, you can make a case for that only if you like say, okay, they're both dominant players. Shaq and Wilt were both dominant players, but Wilt did it in a weaker era. Shaq did it in a more competitive era, I guess. But that's I would say, hard to say, because Wilt actually did play in an era where there was a lot of big men that were very important to their team. Shaq, the thing is, he didn't become dominant until after Hakeem and Ewing and Robinson and Alonzo and Dikembe Mutombo. Those guys, like when those guys all aged, that's when Shaq became dominant. So Shaq came into the league a little bit later than those guys. So I noticed that Shaq only started dominating after those other big men started declining. So that's the thing. So did Shaq really play against good competition? I don't know. Like the thing is, Wilt actually did play against a lot of Hall of Fame competition, right? Nate Thurmond and Willis Reed. And he played against Kareem too, right? Bill Russell, obviously. Like Walt Bellamy, Zelma Beatty, all these guys. He played against Hall of Famer guys, right? But Shaq, in his prime, like he only had Ben Wallace and Yao Ming, right? And Dwight, maybe. Like young Dwight. So I don't know. Like, by the time Shaq reached his prime, he played like basically these all the really all-time centers kind of fell off by that time. It's part of his dominance. I'm not taking anything away from Shaq. I think he's definitely top 15, but I wouldn't put him number 7. Like I would put him closer to Hakeem. I don't know why he's so far ahead of Hakeem, actually. I don't think he's better than Hakeem, but yeah, he's definitely a bit high here. I mean, I get it. 4-time champion, 3-time Finals MVP, and I know it was basically impossible to stop in his prime. But yeah, I would have him closer to Hakeem, basically. I would have him like in the top 15. I would not have him here, and I would probably have Wilt and Duncan both ahead of Shaq. Russell, okay, so that's fine for him, I guess. I would probably have him top 5, but I know like people are saying, no, he had a good team and everything like that. But you're talking about guys 11 championships, never lost an elimination game, never lost a game 7, all-time clutch, probably one of the great, if not the greatest defender ever. I know offensively he didn't put up great numbers, but yeah, rebounding and defense, he was one of the greatest all time. Also passing too. Like, yeah, 4.3 assists a game as a center. If you're talking about the game basketball as winning, then Russell's is the greatest winner ever, right? 11 championships, you can't beat that. So to have him number 6, I don't know. I would have him number 5, especially because if Finals MVPs existed back then, Russell would have like 7 of them or 8 of them. Defensive Player of the Years, he would have like 7 or 8 of them. So if you're talking about awards, I think he should have a lot more awards than he does, which would make him even more than Jordan. So yeah, but I know that people just say, oh, his era was weak and he didn't have much competition and stuff. But I mean, obviously he did have competition. He had a bunch of game 7s and he won all of them, right? It's not like he just utterly dominated his opponents. He had some close games, and because he was so clutch, he just won all of them. And he had good guys on his team like Sam Jones and John Havlicek as well. But I would say Wilt's team was just as good as Russell's, if not better, after Wilt went to the 76ers. So yeah, and especially on the Lakers, right? Like Wilt should have won that finals with the Lakers. So I don't know, but I agree with Wilt being higher than I agree with Russell being higher than Wilt. I know that's a debate, the ageless debate, Wilt versus Russell. I would have Russell higher than Wilt just because Russell has the intangibles that Wilt doesn't. Russell has the leadership intangibles, and that's a big part of it. Oh man, Kobe. So yeah, they put Kobe top 5. I disagree with that. I think I would have Kobe closer to the top 10. I would actually switch Kobe and Duncan's spots if you ask me. I know people debate about that, Kobe versus Duncan, they should be close, but I would actually switch their spots. I mean, okay, if you really want to compare, Kobe obviously has a scoring perspective, right? But Duncan could score too, if he wanted to. I mean, the series where he played against the Lakers, 2002, he averaged like 29 points per game against the Lakers. 2003, when he beat Kobe and Shaq, he averaged 28 points per game. He raises his playoff scoring average to 21 points per game. Kobe's kind of stays the same. Obviously, when it comes to rebounding, Duncan's a better rebounder. For defense, Kobe's a good defender, and he has the 12 all-time defense selections, but Duncan is a better defender. I mean, I'm just going to say that, right? I don't care how many all-defensive Kobe has. Duncan has more, and he's the better defender. He's a more impactful defender. He actually protects the rim. So, yeah, Duncan is the better defender. The leader, Duncan, I would choose for leadership as well. He never had any issues with his teammates. Kobe actually chased Shaq and Dwight out of LA, and he's been known to have a lot of issues with his teammates. 5-time champions for both of them, but Duncan has more MVPs and finals MVPs. Like, I would just straight up take Duncan over Kobe. And yeah, I mean, they have Kobe this high maybe because of influence. Maybe that's why they have Iverson so high too. But I would not have Kobe so far ahead of Duncan. That's doesn't make sense to me. I would have Duncan higher. Yeah, or even just if you just have Kobe and Duncan right beside each other, I guess that's fine. But I would not have Kobe 4 spots higher. I don't get that. So, I mean, he played with Shaq for like 3 of his championships, and like Duncan played with Robinson, but Duncan actually won those finals MVPs when he was playing with Robinson, right? Kobe didn't, and Kobe didn't win those finals MVPs. He led those Gasol, like he led the Lakers to 2 championships with Paul Gasol. I know, but yeah, Duncan's 2003 championship run, I would argue, is even more impressive than Kobe's 2009 run. So that's just me. I would definitely put Duncan higher. I think Kobe's a bit too high here. I would put him closer to the edge of the top 10, if you ask me. All right, but I have more videos talking about how Kobe's overrated and stuff. Okay, Magic Johnson, number 4. I don't understand why Magic's so far ahead of Bird. I think they should be pretty close. I mean, that was actually a debate, right? Magic versus Bird. I don't know why Magic is so much higher. Okay, so Magic has more championships. They both have 3 MVPs. Magic has 1 more finals MVP than Bird does. Bird is the better defender. Bird is also probably the better rebounder as well by a small margin. Bird is also the better scorer, if you ask me, and the better shooter. And Magic is obviously the better passer. Even though Bird is a great passer too. That's not to say Bird isn't a great passer. Bird is also great. I mean, that's another thing I forgot to talk about. Bird is actually a much better passer than KD is. But yeah, are they really that far apart? I don't think so. I think they should be right beside each other. Really, the only thing Magic does objectively better than Bird is passing. That's really about it. I know he has more championships and one more Finals MVP, but I don't think that's enough to put him like this much higher. You know, they should be really close. They should be closer to each other, I think. Like, I put Magic like in my top 5, but then I put Bird like just right outside. You know, like I put Bird closer to like maybe 7 or 8, and I put Magic like maybe 5 or 6. So I don't have them that far apart. Okay, so I think the top 3 everyone knows by now, right? You can kind of deduce it. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, pretty obvious pick. I don't have any issue with this top 3, by the way. I think this top 3 is pretty common and expected. Yeah, Kareem, 6-time champion, 6-time MVP, 2-time Finals MVP, second all-time in scoring, unstoppable skyhook shot. Yeah, I mean, just all around, obviously great offensive player, but also great defender in his prime as well. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to add to that. He's just a great all-time great player, and yeah, the greatest center of all time. He really combines Bill Russell and Wilt in a way. He has kind of Wilt stats, not as quite as crazy as Wilt, but he has kind of Wilt stats and Wilt's offense with Russell's winning and Russell's leadership. So he kind of has both, you know. So that's the thing. Kareem has like some of the properties of Russell, the winning and leadership properties of Russell, with the offensive and statistical side of Wilt. So he has like both of that put together. So, you know, and it makes him like kind of just a reasonable choice to be the best center, right? So yeah, and then LeBron number 2. Yep. Obviously number 1 is Michael Jordan, and people debate about these two all the time. I still lean towards Jordan. I know I defend LeBron a lot online, but I still do think Michael Jordan is slightly better. I mean, I think they're pretty close though. Like, people act like they're not close at all because, oh, Bron, the finals losses, right? But that's stupid, right? I mean, finals losses are not the only losses in basketball, obviously, right? You lose before the finals, like that's a loss too, right? So shouldn't just count that. But anyways, I think they're pretty close. The only difference is that Jordan has the better peak. Bron has the longevity. That's really when it comes down to. I would put Jordan higher just because of that peak, right? If you compare them, Jordan is the more consistent defender. Like, Bron at his prime is probably as good a defender as Jordan is in his prime with Miami and some of his earlier years with the Cavs. But Jordan is the more consistent defender. He won Defensive Player of the Year as well. Scoring wise, Jordan is the better peak scorer, obviously. Like, yeah, he can score pretty much anywhere on the court. Maybe not from 3-point range, but as long as you're inside the 3-point line, Jordan can score on you. Bron can also do that as well, but not at the same volume as Jordan, probably. Like, yeah, like Jordan just can score in more ways than LeBron can. Let's just admit that. Now, Bron is the better 3-point shooter. Like, that's something that Bron has improved throughout the years. He's a better 3-point shooter than Jordan was. But as long as you're inside the 3-point line, I think Jordan is a better scorer. Rebounding and passing, obviously LeBron's better at that. Championships wise, obviously, like, Jordan has 2 more championships. He has 1 more MVP. He has 2 more Finals MVPs. So that kind of hardware does put him ahead of Bron for me. But it's pretty close, right? Especially because Bron has all the longevity stats in his favor as well. So really, you're talking about Jordan having like more awards, basically. Like, he has more rings, more MVPs, more Finals MVPs, probably a better peak like a more consistent defender and a better peak scorer, and Bron having more longevity and better all around, right? Talking about rebounding and passing and everything. The ability to raise the floor, I think Bron's probably a bit better at that. But Jordan also has the mentality thing going for him, right? Where he has the killer instinct, as people call it. Yeah, that's something that people do for Kobe as well. But I mean, yes, mentality-wise, there is a bit of a difference there as well, right? Jordan is just like a psychological killer on the court, and LeBron is not seen that way, let's just say. So, yeah. So there's that aspect, the intangibles aspect as well. So anyways, I think it's pretty close. I would still give it to Jordan because, yeah, his peak was better, right? He won more championships, more MVPs, 10 scoring titles, whereas LeBron only has 1. Defensive Player of the Year, right? Yeah, like, his peak was just better. Braun has the longevity, but I think the peak is actually is a little bit more important than longevity for me, right? And that's why you would rank guys like Isaiah ahead of Stockton, right? You rank Isaiah ahead of Stockton because Isaiah had the better peak, even though Stockton had the longevity. So I think generally judging on peak is a little bit more important than longevity. So anyways, that's it. That's my going through all of the top 500 NBA players, especially the top 120. So, all right. So overall, what do I think about the Slam Top 500? I think overall it's still a good book to have. It's a lot of content, a lot of players, obviously 500 players, but also including those ABA guys in as well. There's like 20 ABA guys they highlighted, which I think is nice because most people don't talk about ABA players enough. They don't talk about them. They don't appreciate ABA players. So I'm glad those guys are highlighted. And yeah, just a lot of content. So Slam compiled like 500 different players. Might not be in the order people really like or expect, but they still have 500 guys in here, right? So that's a lot. I know even for me as a basketball historian, there's still a lot of guys I didn't know about on here. Like maybe 20% of the players on here I didn't really know too much about. So yeah, I think it's a good book overall, just to get a lot more information about NBA history, I would say, and all the different players that's played in it. And I would say most people probably wouldn't know all the players in this book, right? There's just so many players from all different eras. So it's nice to know about them and read about them. And the only thing is the picks are definitely, especially the top 120, I would say a bit controversial. Like, yeah, the top 120 players I think are the ones that people might get a bit upset about and are pretty controversial. Like, for me personally, when I talked about this, like, yeah, a few of the real head scratchers for me are like AD being like number 98, Joel Embiid being 106. Like, those guys are really low. And then you have guys like Reggie Miller and Chris Mullin being ahead of them, which doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, like guys like David Thompson and Bernard King, pretty short primes and didn't really win anything, are ahead of them. Doesn't make sense. You have guys like Melo that are ahead of Pierce, which I don't agree with. I don't think Melo or T-Mac is better than Paul Pierce. You have like Kyrie being ahead of Kawhi, which doesn't make sense to me. Stockton being ahead of Malone and KG, that doesn't make sense to me. Iverson at number 20, he's ahead of Jokic and Wade and KG. Like, yeah, there's definitely a lot of head scratchers in this book that I talked about. Yeah, Vince Carter being ahead of Drexler. Like, yeah, a lot of weird picks in the top 120. So other than that, still a lot of content in this book, a lot of pictures, a lot of players. So yeah, it's still worth it to pick it up, in my opinion. Good for people who want to really read about basketball history, NBA history, of course. And yeah, even though the order might not be what you expect, at least you'll get to learn about a lot of these players. So I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, overall, I think it's still a good book to pick up. Even if the ranking doesn't really make too much sense, I think it's still worth it to pick it up for $70. So, guys, let me know if you have any questions. As always, thanks for watching.